My name is Angela Moon Jean Chaplin Linz Ike. I just go by Moon Chaplin. I'm making a documentary about endometriosis. I've had endometriosis for 20 years. I am a sexual assault survivor, teacher, advocate, singer, performer, business owner, CEO, counselor, trainer, writer, documentarian, fitness instructor, motivational speaker, animal rights activist, active volunteer and board member for the very first farm sanctuary in Iowa. And today I represent a very specific demographic of 176 million globally who have the incurable disease endometriosis, or 1 in 10 women, which means approximately 5 million women in the United States have this disease. I represent a specific demographic today, but I speak for everyone who suffers with chronic pain, addiction, depression, anxiety, or any other condition that impacts their quality of life. I plead with the public, congressman, or anyone with authority in decision-making to look at the facts and hear our stories. But today I want to address this with our president, a man that I deeply admire and who has personally inspired me. A man who takes opiate addiction seriously and declares himself a feminist, a man that I voted for. I direct my message to the highest authority, our president, to hear us and advocate for a large group of Americans who need him now more than ever. We are the data you need to regulate Kratom, not ban it. I do not know anyone more connected than the President of the United States. I will try not to make this PSA political, but it is difficult when my health and wellness is being discussed as a political matter and no one is consulting or listening to me about the decisions about my body. In March of 2016, I began making a PSA during Endometriosis Awareness Month. My small project turned into making a documentary after we conducted several interviews to discover alarming information and data through self-reports of women who had contacted us. Additionally, during the making of the documentary titled The Endo Army 176 Million and Counting, I was given a referral for a product, Kratom, from a fellow Endo sister. Reluctant and discouraged after trying every product or treatment recommended over decades, I tried the product with a tea, and within an hour of consuming a small dosage, Kratom relieved the excruciating pain that plagues so many women with this disease. To my surprise, the chronic depression and anxiety, which are all symptoms that occur after prolonged exposure to chronic pain, were also relieved, if not completely cured. For the first time in my life, I felt hopeful. I had an overwhelming feeling of optimism. I discreetly yet promptly began to tell other Endo sisters about the product, and 100% of those women that used Kratom and participated in the film reported the exact response. We began documenting and exploring Kratom as a safer alternative for treatment of pain while also continuing to collect data. It completely changed the direction of our film. Our study showed that herbal treatment was working for women who tried Kratom. They reported it as a miracle and put those women with endometriosis back to work, back to school, and freed them from dangerous medication prescribed by their doctors. Our film is in the final stages of editing, and unfortunately, though we discussed all of this in our film, Kratom will not be accessible to anyone after September 30th, 2016, and our research founded in the film will not be available before then. Our hope was to introduce Kratom to other women with the disease to decrease, if not eliminate, the use of prescription medication and relieve their agony. Up until 5 months ago, this was my life.
I'm in pain. I don't know what else to do. Nothing works. Nothing works. I try everything. I do everything right. No matter what I do. This is what I'm like. I'm so bad. Why do I have to go through this all the time? Why? It makes me to save my life. I hate that I'm away from home and I can't see my own doctor. I want to see my doctor. Will you please help me? Will you please help me, please? I'm begging you. Tell me what to do. Please.
On August 30th, 2016, the DEA declared war on Kratom. The DEA, in my opinion, is misleading the public and implying that Kratom is a dangerous and even life-threatening natural substance with manipulated data. One of the most unexpected yet most important discoveries in the making of our film was how many women told us they had developed addiction to prescription pain medication. Most refused to appear on film for a variety of reasons. And many of those women are now using Kratom, but still will not come forward because of the shame that comes with that testimony and the admittance that they are recovering addicts, which risks their reputation, employment, dignity, and right to privacy. Again, I respect them today with that self-reporting evidence from our film and have promised not to reveal their identity or lead to the discovery of their identity, but was permitted to share the data we collected during filming. Upon the discovery of the amount of women addicted to pain medication and organizing the data for the film, we elaborated on the lack of treatment available to women with endometriosis. One of the symptoms of endometriosis is excruciating, debilitating pain. The disease is taboo, and on average it takes a woman 7 to 10 years to obtain diagnosis. In fact, the majority of women with endometriosis are not taken seriously and they are dismissed, told we are overreacting, being overdramatic, and that our pain is normal. We are made to feel like we deserve it. That, and I quote, is just part of being a woman. We spend years of our life trying to convince doctors that we are in pain and genuinely ill, only to be given poor treatment that leads to misdiagnosis, pointless surgeries, trauma, infertility, depression, anxiety, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and financial devastation, and so much more. These women find it difficult to obtain education or stable employment. These women go through multiple surgeries year after year to continue to remove endometriosis that returns for so many women, no matter what they do, forced to live in agony. The DEA threatens and intimidates desperate people with federal charges if in possession of Kratom after September 30th. Possession of Kratom will result in charges that are the same as being in possession of heroin. Well, DEA, we have already been given a life sentence with our disease. There is nothing that you can do that could possibly inflict more agony than the disease of endometriosis. Endometriosis is a war on women, and I am the army fighting that. Do not be in the wrong battle. Be on the right side of history. We have done this before and we know what happens. We keep talking about being on the right side of history, and this is that time. In a day and age where same-sex marriage is finally legal in every state and a woman can run for president, we cannot go backwards. We cannot get this one wrong. This sudden and sneaky declaration of war on the herb Kratom is just another distraction to the real issues, and it is all intertwined. I fight for equal rights for all people, and I will continue to do that. In a time where we need to spend our energy to continue to fight for equal rights, addressing racism, discrimination, global warming and climate change, fracking and the Dakota Access Pipeline, rape culture, and flawed justice for rapists, I am now fighting to continue having access to the product that keeps me well enough to stay committed to my work as an activist. This is not a good use of time for me, and my time and energy is required elsewhere for far more important matters that are directly threatening humanity. This is not a good use of time for anyone. It feels like a distraction, not just a way for pharmaceutical companies to keep lining their pockets, who are directly benefiting from the addicted, the disabled, and the desperate, and those in despair. Is the plant Kratom really even a priority? Am I really making a video right now on Saturday night for the President of the United States to make sure that I can still make decisions over my own body? We have done this before. Let's not even get started on the history of birth control. The subject is not a priority. I say no more strategies to make the public fearful and hateful. No more distractions. We need to get back to our priorities. I just can't help but feel it's just another way to change the subject, again, to distract us. These are issues we have the power to change. We need regulations and civilization, but nothing about this ban is civilized. There has been no conversation, no consultation, no democracy, and that is not okay. Let's have an adult conversation like the civilized, free people we are about regulation and regulation only. These regulations are what we have appointed our leaders to do, not demoralize, criminalize, demonize, and declare war. There is no war. What I would like to know is how much caffeine consumption, for example, is dangerous. Regulations that give dosage recommendations, something the DEA and the FDA are supposed to do. With an entire industry around energy drinks and energy boosters loaded with caffeine, I feel that this is a great comparison since Kratom is from the coffee family and a stimulant like coffee. I've been saying from the beginning of my healing journey with Kratom that it needs regulation and dosage recommendation. Though I have never experienced a high using Kratom, it still does need dosage recommendation. Nobody tells me how many coffees I can have in one day. Nobody tells me how many beers I can have or even purchase. Only how many you can have and operate a vehicle, because that's regulation. That's responsible and fair regulation. For example, we recommend a 2,000 calorie a day diet for most Americans. Right now, I do not feel very strong. I am afraid and I am vulnerable and I'm at the mercy of the government and the powers that be. I'm angry and I'm frustrated, but don't get it confused, because I do my best work when I'm angry and frustrated. Do not think for 1 second that I am weak. I live with endometriosis, and endometriosis can inflict a lot more pain than the DEA. I know how to channel my energy into the right cause. I know how to prioritize. So we need to squash this and all acknowledge that we have bigger issues to resolve right now, and we need to resolve them together. Anyone with chronic pain will tell you that pain management is about staying ahead of your pain. Doctors treat patients with chronic pain the only way they know how, with prescription medication, and encourage patients to stay ahead of their pain. This essentially means to use your medication on a consistent basis so that when you have a flare-up, you do not lose control of your pain and risk taking more medication, which could lead to accidental overdose and most certainly, as we have already seen, the prescription medication addiction epidemic in America. According to the U.S. Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, a full 80% of all users arrive at heroin after abusing opioid painkillers such as Oxycontin, Percocet, and Vicodin. And according to the National Institute of Drug Abuse, 1 in 15 people who take non-medical prescription painkillers will try heroin within the next 10 years. Do not let people force drugs down your throat and call it treatment. The real drugs, the bad ones, the ones that will make you an addict and kill you, are prescribed. They are making a lot of people really, really rich, and they're rejoicing every time you believe these lies. Kratom allows patients to safely and consistently use an herbal treatment without the dangers of prescription medication and risk of addiction. Prolonged use of pain medication also leads to a higher tolerance, and over time the patient needs higher dosages to get the same effect or relief, and that medication can stop working altogether. All the research on this already exists. We already know this. Meanwhile, the DEA wants to place Kratom as a Schedule I so that they can do more research. While you are doing more research, you're handing all of us over to the pharmaceutical companies. You're taking away my rights to have a decision over my body as a woman. We've worked hard to combat a woman's right to choose. My only choice now with this decision is to take dangerous medication that will inevitably take my life. I've been treated for over 10 years with medication, and it nearly killed me. I personally have made a choice to not drink alcohol and have stopped my Demerol injection treatment and significantly decreased prescription pain medication since discovering Kratom. If I wanted to get messed up or high, I can do it legally with alcohol or in the doctor's office. I want the same right as anyone else to live a quality life free of pain, and I desire to advocate for others for these basic rights. My moral value and belief system is based in the ethical foundation of health and wellness for myself, others, and animals. It's a big reason why I am also vegan, because I desire a healthy lifestyle as a contributing citizen who helps the environment, people, and animals. I do not wish to see anyone or any animal in pain or at high risk for pain. Addiction is pain, and it just so happens that Kratom is also assisting many individuals achieve sobriety. It is helping individuals with post-traumatic stress disorder achieve peace, and so much more. Because I am new and a recent user of Kratom, only using it for the last 5 months or so, I only recently discovered that addicts are using it to be clean and sober from hard drugs like heroin and even alcohol. I have sent these products not just to women with endometriosis, but also my friends and family who struggle with addiction and have been able to free themselves from the chains of addiction. Naturally, it's hard to support something when you may not know much about it or you may not be informed, especially when the DEA compares this plant to heroin when you've already never heard of it. Please do not believe this madness. Please listen to the testimonies and personal stories of so many Americans. The DEA does not scare me. The only thing that scares me is the inevitable pain that is coming my way in just 19 days from today. Your scare tactics don't work on me, and shame on you for the position that you've put all of us in. My best friend died of a drug overdose on June 6, 2007 after prolonged exposure to chronic pain. I couldn't save her, but if I had known about Kratom then, I guarantee it would have saved her life. I have never fully healed from losing her. She isn't the only friend that I have had who has died of a drug overdose, a drug that was prescribed to her by her doctor. It's saving lives of so many people that I know, and we are trembling, terrified of what is coming our way. Do not take this herbal treatment from us. Get informed, get educated. You never know what can happen to you in this life. Someday you could experience trauma or injury that leaves you with lifelong chronic pain. And if or when that time comes, you will want this alternative. You will want that choice. You'll want that decision over your body. I know it's hard for many people to understand, especially if you've never experienced addiction, chronic depression, anxiety, or prolonged pain. But believe me, none of us are exempt from these experiences. It can happen to anyone. No one chooses this life. Until it happens to you, you don't understand that you have a hand in this fight. This is the time that requires empathy, support, compassion, empowerment, and encouragement from everyone. Though I do not use marijuana, there is no denying now that marijuana has a life-saving medicinal impact for people with seizures, for example. It is not fair for anyone who uses alcohol, for example, to side or agree with the DEA, who has again publicly admitted that Kratom needs more research, which is their explanation for placing it as a Schedule I drug. If we say that Kratom must now be a Schedule I because people have found a way to abuse it, all substances like coffee and food, and especially alcohol, must also be treated the same. Facts are different from opinions. Fact, Barack Obama is president of the United States. Opinion, Barack Obama is the best, or flip it, worst president we've ever had. The best, by the way. We all use and abuse some substance to feel good, food and alcohol being two of the biggest ones that come to mind. Both release dopamine and serotonin in the brain and alter our moods, yet only one is needed for survival: food. We need food or calories to give us energy for our bodies. When our bodies and mind are impacted by disability or trauma, another substance is used and arguably needed for survival to combat the imbalance. I tell you today that Kratom is something I need to restore my body, which is plagued with an incurable disease that has no known cure and no known cause. Endometriosis saturates my pelvic region, requiring multiple surgeries, and leaves me in daily excruciating pain that is unimaginable. Without pain management of some kind, I will be completely debilitated and have even experienced seizure-like episodes that caused severe bodily injury and loss of consciousness. Kratom is the only natural and herbal product that has given me relief and has allowed me to live pain-free. With the use of Kratom, I have been able to dedicate myself to lifelong aspirations of writing books, traveling, and spending time with my friends and family on a consistent basis, which was not possible before. When people abuse food through overconsumption, or alcohol, for example, which industries and holidays have been built around, we have a culture that rejoices and celebrates with these products. Kratom has allowed me to get back to my volunteer service in my community by giving me an able body free of pain and suffering. It allows me to serve on the boards that I serve on, teach classes at the gym, run my company during the day as a CEO, donate my time as a performer to our local theater, enjoy a meal without vomiting, play with my dogs and walk them, take my niece to a wiffle ball tournament, sort Pokemon cards with my nephew, run half marathons, do my motivational speeches and provide trainings, be a counselor, be a wife, be a friend, and sleep more than 4 hours at a time without excruciating pain. The DEA may be lacking research, but my testimony and the testimony of so many others is undeniable. Research is about collecting data. Research means to control and predict. You can bet every last greedy, profitable dollar the pharmaceutical companies made that they can predict an uprise in addiction, overdoses, suicide, and crime. This, Mr. President, is exactly what we do not want. We can stop this right now. Yes, we can. I believe if anyone can help the large group of Americans who are suffering from chronic pain, addiction, or depression, or anxiety, or whatever, it's you. A man who proudly declares, "This is what a feminist looks like." A man who continues to address the serious opiate addiction in this country and actively works to address it with real solutions. A man that I knocked doors for when I was in excruciating pain. A man that brought me to tears when he was elected president. A man who, in my opinion, has been the greatest president this country has ever had. Mr. President, I will be sad to see you leave office. You did a great job, and I think this will be one of your greatest and most heroic services yet in your last months in office. I'm with you and we need you. We are all now the voice and advocate for those in recovery and those who will remain in recovery from illness, disease, and despair. This is not just about Kratom. Kratom is now the face for the safer and natural treatment of depression, anxiety, addiction, chronic pain, suicide, and multiples of disease awareness. I am Kratom. Kratom does save lives. I know this video got long, but it's important. There is a link to the petition in the march happening Tuesday, September 13th from noon to 4 at the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. I desperately tried to be at the march this coming Tuesday, but my demanding schedule and unpredictable symptoms will not allow me to be there. So I have made this video so that my voice is heard and my concerns are taken seriously. I want my voice to serve as an advocate for anyone out there suffering with chronic pain, depression, anxiety, whatever your condition may be, and I dedicate this video to you, anyone in despair. To everyone seeking an alternative to prescription medication, even if it is not Kratom, to protect our rights and have say over our own bodies and keep herbal treatments available and ready when they are needed. Please share this video. Do your own research and get informed. We can use our social media platforms in a powerful way to advocate, to inform, and to help achieve peace and maintain comfort. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching this ridiculously long video and investing your time for so many Americans who will be impacted by this decision. We also have links to our documentary trailer and Facebook page. Share your story, talk about it, and together we will save lives. Thank you so much.